Do not quit your job to start a business, at least not yet. I know that's not the advice you usually hear. The internet loves telling people to burn the boats, go all in, bet on yourself, and never look back. And I get why that sounds appealing because if you're burnt out, if you're tired, if you're giving your best energy to a company that may not value you the way you want to be, walking away can feel like freedom. But by the end of this video, I want you to see it differently. Because for a lot of high performing corporate professionals, quitting too early doesn't create freedom, it creates pressure. And pressure is a terrible business strategy. In this video, I'm going to show you what to test before you ever consider leaving, why quitting should not be the first move, and how to start building something outside your job without putting your family or your income at unnecessary risk. Because the people that make the smoothest transitions are the ones that don't take some dramatic leap. They're the ones that build the bridge first. And that's what we're going to talk about. If we haven't met, my name's Dustin Neff. I spent over 25 years in corporate leadership, 19 of those at Nike, and I know what it feels like to look successful on paper while privately wondering how much longer you can keep doing it. And that's who this video is for. Not someone who's lazy, not someone who wants an easy way out, not someone who hates work. This is for the person who's worked hard, moved up, made great money, taken care of their family, and done what they're supposed to do, and still has this quiet question in the back of their mind. Is this really what I'm supposed to do for the next 10 or 15 years? Because most high performers are not working hard because they don't care about their family. They're working hard because they do. And that's what makes this trap so hard. You're trying to provide for the people you love while slowly losing the freedom to actually be present with them. And when you live in that tension long enough, quitting starts to feel like the only way to breathe again. But looking back, I can tell you this clearly. The feeling was real, but the feeling was not the plan. That's the part most people miss. Being done emotionally does not mean you're ready structurally. You might be ready in your heart. You might be ready in your head. You might be ready every Sunday night when that pressure starts creeping back in. But is your offer ready? Do you know who you would help? Do you know what problem you would solve? Do you know whether someone outside of your current company actually values the problem enough to have a real conversation about it? If the answer is no, that does not mean you're failing. It means you're not ready to quit. You're ready to test. And that one word, test, is the difference between a reckless exit and a safe one. And that one word, test, is the difference between a reckless exit and a safe one. Because most people think leaving corporate is a leap. I don't. I think leaving corporate should be a sequence. A leap requires hope, a sequence creates proof. And proof is what protects you from making emotional decisions with real life consequences. Now, let's talk about what happens if you don't do this, because this is where a lot of people get stuck. They wait. They tell themselves they'll figure it out later. They wait until they're more burnout. They wait until their next boss. They wait until the next reorg. They wait until the company shifts direction. They wait until they're so miserable that they finally say, I can't do this anymore. And now they're trying to make one of the biggest decisions of their life under pressure. And that's a tough place to be because when you're exhausted, everything looks like an exit. A new job looks like an exit. A different company looks like an exit. A bigger title looks like an exit. And quitting looks like an exit. Starting a business looks like an exit. But if you've not built proof, you may not be choosing freedom. You may just be choosing a different type of pressure. And that is why I don't believe in quitting first. I believe in building proof first. So, that exact mistake that I'm talking about, exiting corporate America before you have a paying client, I've done it twice. I just could not work in that system one day longer. Now I do the exact opposite. I show people how to leverage the skills they have, get their first paying clients while they're still employed. That way, it takes the pressure off. So, this is why I do not believe in quitting first. I believe in building proof first. One path protects your family while you build, the other path puts pressure on your family before you've built proof. And if you have a mortgage, kids, bills, spouse, responsibilities, or people depending on your income, that difference matters. This is not about being afraid. This is about being responsible. And it's not weak to protect your family. It's not weak to move strategically. And it is not weak to say, before I jump, I want to know there's a bridge. That's wisdom, maturity. That's what high performers should do. So here's the reframe: the problem is not that you need to quit your job. The problem is that you have probably become too dependent on one source of income, one company, one title, one career path, and one system to define that value. That's the real issue because companies change, leaders change, budgets change, and so do priorities. Markets change, and you can be great at your job and still be affected by decisions that you didn't make. That's not fear, that's reality. So the question is not, should I quit? That's the wrong starting question. The better question is, what can I start testing now while I still have income, stability, and time to think clearly? That's the much better question because once you start testing, you stop relying on hope. You start collecting evidence, and that evidence changes everything. It changes how you think. It changes how you make decisions. It changes how trapped you feel. Because once you realize that your skills can create value outside of your current role, corporate becomes a place you work, not the only place you can survive. That is a massive mental shift. So, how do you actually do this? And I want to give you a simple version. There are three things you need to test before you ever think about seriously quitting your job. Number one, you test the problem, not your business idea, not your logo, not your website, not your LLC, the actual problem. Is this something people actually care about? Is this something that costs someone time, stress, money, confidence, opportunity, or clarity? Because that is what people respond to. They don't usually wake up thinking, I need a consultant. They wake up thinking, my team is a mess. I don't know how to fix this process. I'm losing good people. I'm stuck in my career. I don't know how to communicate my value. I'm overwhelmed and I need someone who has been there before. That's the problem. And your first job is not to build a business. Your first job is to understand the problem clearly. Because if you cannot name the problem clearly, you cannot sell the solution. Number two, you test the person. Who exactly has this problem? Not everyone. Everyone is not a market. Everyone is confusion. Is it new managers? Is it small business owners? Is it corporate leaders? Is it operators? Is it people that want to play better golf? Sales teams, parents, executives? It could be literally anything. But there is a small group of people that are willing to pay for your knowledge. So you need to know who you're speaking to because the same skill can become different offers depending on the person. For example, if you're great at operations, that could mean one thing to a small business owner and something completely different to a corporate team. If you're great at leadership, that could mean one thing to a new manager and something totally different to a founder who just hired their first team. If you're great at helping people communicate their value, that could mean one thing to someone interviewing and something different to someone building their first offer. Same skill, a different person, different problem, different offer. This is where a lot of people get stuck because they want to keep it broad. They think broad gives them more opportunity. It doesn't. Broad makes people confused. Specific makes people feel seen. All right, so number three, you test the offer. This is where you take the problem and the person and turn it into one clear sentence. Not, I do consulting, not, I help people with leadership, not I help businesses grow. Too vague. A clear offer sounds more like I help new managers lead difficult conversations without losing trust. Or I help small business owners find the operational bottlenecks that are eating their week. Or I help experienced corporate professionals identify their hidden leverage and test a first offer before they quit their job. See the difference? A vague offer makes people work hard. Clear offer makes them think, that's me. Or I know someone that needs that. This is what you want. And here's the part most people over complicate. So you can test all three of these without quitting your job. You don't need a website, logo, following. You don't need a fancy brand. And you do not need to announce to the world that you're starting something. You can start with conversations, quiet conversations, smart conversations, low pressure conversations with people you already know, former coworkers, vendors, industry contacts, people in your network who understand the world you come from. You're not reaching out with some hard pitch. You're reaching out with curiosity. You might say, hey, I'm exploring something based on the work I've already done around operations and leadership, and I'm curious, is this a problem business owners run into? That's it. You're not begging, not chasing, not trying to convince someone. You're learning, and every response gives you data. If they lean in, that tells you something. If they're confused, that tells you something too. All right. If they say, actually, the real problem is this, that really tells you something. And here's how the market teaches you. They build the whole thing in private. That's how the market teaches you. Most people do it backwards. They build their entire thing in private. They spend months thinking of the name, building the website, messing with their logo, writing the bio, creating an offer. They make a social media page. And then after all that, they finally talk to the market and realize nobody cares. Don't do that. Talk to the market first. The market will tell you what matters. The market will tell you what words to use, and the market will tell you where the pain actually is. And ultimately, whether your hidden leverage has potential outside of your current company. Now, I want to explain hidden leverage because this is important. Your hidden leverage is a valuable skill, experience, network, or pattern recognition you've built over years that you currently underestimate because it feels so normal to you. The last part matters. It feels normal to you. So don't dismiss it. For years, people came to me for career advice, interview advice, leadership advice, business advice, and how to communicate, how to move up, how to handle different conversations, how to think about their next move. And I didn't think of that as leverage. I thought that's just what I do. But that was a clue. The thing people kept asking me for was showing me where the opportunity was. I just hadn't named it yet. And that's what happens when a lot of corporate professionals who've spent years solving problems inside a company and the company pays your salary and you assume the company owns that value, but they don't. You own the skill. They rented it. Your experience travels with you. Your judgment travels with you. Your pattern recognition, your ability to solve problems. The question is whether you know how to translate it into something the market actually understands. That's the work. So, not quitting, translating, not leaping, testing, not hoping, but building proof. So, if you want to start this week, here's a simple sequence. Step one, write down the problem you think you are best at solving. Not the title that you've held, not your job description, the problem. For example, I help turn chaos into process, or I help people communicate their value. I help teams execute under pressure. I help leaders have hard conversations. Whatever your superpower is. Step two, name the exact person who has that problem. Again, not everyone, a real kind of person. A new manager, a small business owner, a corporate leader, a founder, or a sales professional, a high performing employee who feels stuck. The more clearly you can name that person, the more clearly you can speak to them. Then step three, write one simple sentence. I help this person solve this problem. Keep it plain. Do not try to sound clever. Clear beats clever every time. And then step four, reach out to three people this week. not a pitch, to learn. Ask if the problem you see is real. Ask how they would describe it. Ask what they've already tried. And ask what makes it frustrating. And ask what it means to have it solved. Then listen. Do not defend your idea. Do not try to make them agree. Just listen. And step 5, pay attention to the words they use. This is important. Their words usually are better than your own words. Write them down. The market will give you the language if you stop trying to sound impressive and start listening. That language becomes your message, and your message becomes your offer. Your offer becomes the next thing you test. That's the first phase: small, contained, reversible, no dramatic leap required. And that's the part I want you to really hear. You do not need to blow up your life to start building options. You do not need to quit your job to start acting like an owner. And you don't need to have the whole path figured out. You just need to test one problem, one person, one conversation, one piece of proof. That's how the bridge gets built. So when people ask me, should I quit my job to start a business? My answer is usually no, not yet. First, find your hidden leverage, test the problem, test the person, offer, build proof, then make decisions from a stronger position, because the goal is not necessarily quit recklessly. The goal is to build enough social proof that whether you decide next, you decide with confidence, not panic. If this helped, subscribe to this channel. This is what we talk about here, helping high-level professionals build something outside of corporate. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you got something out of that. And if you like this content, check out my other video here, and I'll talk to you soon.